welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about my personal favorite, the Spyderco Para 3. As you can see here, I have quite a few versions of that Para 3, and the first one that I owned was the lightweight model. However, that exact one I gave away but quickly replaced. As you can see, it's right back here on the table. I don't know why, but I kind of like knowing that a friend has the first of a certain thing that I owned and really liked. Of all the different versions that I do own, I have to say I definitely prefer the lightweight model over the standard. While some say the FRN scales cheapen the feel of the knife, I don't necessarily disagree with that outright, but I will say that the feeling becomes more muted when there's purpose behind the scale material choice. On that note, I give you the new Para 3 lightweight salt variant. This comes with Magnacut steel for the blade, a proper salt yellow for the FRN scales, and all of this knife is purposeful, up to and including the Cerakoted black titanium pocket clip that I got from Lynch Northwest. Though Lynch clips go on pretty much every one of the Spydercos that I own, so that's almost a given. I am still breaking in this particular Para 3, but I will say that once broken in, the action and fidget factor on these is probably one of the top of all the pocket folders that I own. Part of this is due to the compression lock on the back, and all of this makes for easy one-handed no-look operation. Almost like muscle memory, I could retrieve this from my pocket to deploy, use, and then disengage the lock and close it. There are a ton of variants of not only the Para 3 itself, but specifically this lightweight version. While on the lightweight version, the scales may only change colors between those variants, it does open up a lot of knife steels and blade finishes. Like the recent addition of this salt variant, along with the much-loved release of the Crew Carta variant that came out roughly the same time as the salt version. Quite a beautiful piece of kit, if I do say so myself. I think this thing that makes it so desirable for me is the ergonomics. I'm a bit of a bigger guy with relatively large hands, and the very pronounced finger choil and matching thumb ramp, I don't know, it just kind of, the fingers just fit. It's almost as if the Para 3 was designed and built for me. With that said, I will say the Para 2 fits in my hands very nicely too, but there's extra material on each side. If I choke all the way up to the choil and finger or thumb ramp, I've got extra scale at the bottom, or I could just hold the scales entirely within my hand. So the Para 3 itself, kind of with that smaller form factor, not only does it fit my hand great, it also allows for it to disappear in my pocket that much better. This particular version of the Para 3 is currently retailing for $168.75 where they have it in stock, and I'll have a link to purchase in the description below. Though I'm sure this price will go up, and I'm also hoping they end up releasing another version of this with some type of black coating on the blade itself, because I think that would just make this look all that much better, at least in my opinion. Let's get into the technical technical details. This knife comes in at an overall length of 7.21 inches. Blade length itself is 2.92 inches, so it is Illinois legal, but not necessarily Chicago proper legal. The blade width itself is 1.38 inches with a thickness of 0.145 inches. The material, as we discussed, is CPM Magnacut. It's a clip point flat grind with satin finish, and it's a plain edge. There's no serrations on this one, though I'm sure they'll end up putting out one that's at least partially serrated. The handle length is 4.29 inches. Handle thickness is 0.45 inches. The material, as we discussed, is this polymer FRN, fiber reinforced nylon, if I remember what the acronym stands for correctly. Handle width is 1.1 inches. The weight is 2.4 ounces, which is one of the biggest selling points for me, and I'll compare it to the full-size Para 3. I'm not exactly sure what that weight is off the top of my head, but you'll have a direct comparison. It is right-handed or left-handed tip-up carry. There are the Spidey hole for deployment that quite a few people are a big fan of, and you can do a flick with the compression lock if you know what you're doing, but I don't even need that. The Spidey flick works for me. I think it goes without saying that I would buy this one again, as I obviously have bought several versions of this one, and I'll be buying more in the future. I'm fortunate for my pocket. If you'd like to see me review any of the other versions of the Para 3 that you saw earlier today, or any other versions that exist, maybe I could afford one and you could help convince me to buy more knives that I don't need. But it's probably the fact that this is my favorite carry, so it won't take much convincing. All that being said, thanks for watching. Carry on.